All right, let's do a little bit of reading real quick here. So these patch notes that I covered thoroughly in this video, linked down below, mention that Flutter's Wisp damage now scales more effectively. What that means, as you can see by the footage on screen, is it does a heck of a lot of damage very quickly. So it looks like it's pretty similar to the same amount of damage as before. Archer was digging into the files and could not find any difference between before the update and after. What we are observing, however, is that the Flutter damage is happening a lot quicker, and it is actually fairly viable. Huge thank you to Kine. This is not a funded video. I wanted to cover Flutter anyway, and he recommended this on stream. He used a Streamloots card, which you can buy in the chat, and it's a build he wanted me to try, and it worked really, really well. So much so that more than a week later, I'm back to show it off. So Flutter is a hero that when you kill an enemy with a plasma pulse, you can get up to 8 kills from that. It'll give you these flutters that go around you. They're little butterflies that do damage to the enemies in a radius. It's kind of like Cloaked Shadow, but instead of activating it with a melee kill, you're getting plasma pulse kills. That's kind of how you can think of it. If you guys want to check out my Cloak Shadow videos, I'll link some down below. He's my favorite ninja in the entire game. Happy Holidays is great because we are going to be spamming Plasma Pulse, and then Plasma Specialist easily makes sense because we want our Plasma Pulse to do 30% more damage. And then 1 Hot Minute, which is not only my nickname in high school, but it's also going to reduce our Plasma Pulse cooldown by 18%. And then Malfunction, which was also a radius of Plasma Pulse by 40%. So this will just make our Plasma Pulse hit a wider area, reduce cooldown, and more damage. It's just a general overall bonus to that ability that we'll be spamming. And then Prehistoric Giza, super boring. We're never going to have any shield in this build, so 33 armor is great. We're going to be standing right in the front lines the whole time. You could also use Bomb Suit Kyle, but it's kind of proportional. You have like 50-ish% of your health is shield, but a little less than that. And then Bomb Suit's 22 and she's 33. It's preference, but I preferred Saurian Hide because I think the math favors her barely. And then going Coconuts. So in the original build that Kine suggested he wanted Survivalist. If you're a newer player, you could definitely do so. But I feel like the increased damage and significantly better healing from Coconuts is preferred. Only being able to hold 8 shouldn't be too big of a deal. If we really need to heal, we can use healing pads as well. Those are pretty cheap, and I've got plenty of them. And I'll just have to farm up 8 Coconuts to get started. So yeah, no weapon really to showcase. I'm just going to use the Jabberwocky because this thing is absolutely insane as a basic primary. I demonstrated this weapon's power in my recent best weapons to kill mini bosses video. Link to that down below. If you guys are struggling after the nerf of the Discharger, that is where you want to go to make sure that you have all the best options in the modern day. Otherwise, I think we're ready to go. Let's hop in game and have some fun. So one of the suggestions that Kine mentioned is not something I often do, but seeing as we are standing in the middle of crowds of enemies not doing much to defend ourselves, a triple armor melee is highly recommended. Baron does a decent job, but remember, we need to get kills. So we get kills with the enemies, and then we walk away, and you can see the Flutter damage. This is a 164 player. These are 250 power level enemies, and the "you found an encampment" message covered the health bar. I hate that so much when I'm making thumbnails. It drives me crazy as a content creator. You cannot get rid of that message at all, but the Mist Monster's dead. You see how we were able to take out 2 encampments with 1 Plasma Pulse and just standing there. It's so strong. I also feel like I'm walking through mud without my Baron, so let's fix that. Well, I was skimming the entire map looking for encampments to demonstrate the perk, but it looks like we just need to kill some basic targets, and there's really not much to show here. Everything dies so quickly, the flutters last for so long that you can really take care of everything you need to, and I guess we'll just go start the defense. Okay, so this is becoming a regular segment in my videos. Seeing as I want to prepare a defense anyway, and a lot of people want to know how to trap and save the world, I might as well record this section. If you have no interest in this, hit L a few times, timestamps down below. I like to put chapters in my videos so you guys don't have to watch stuff you don't want to see. We'll start the defense afterwards, but let's analyze the situation. We've got spawns to the bottom south, we have the west, and they might shift to the north and the east. Stage just put up a really basic, just stall build. Wall launchers, floor launchers, and tire traps that are directional. So she's facing the objective so that they'll stagger towards the back. It's nice and effective and it works well, but what I'm seeing is a lot of enemies are going to be spawning and funneling either up here over this hill and then over here. So I'm going to do a more defensive build. What I'm seeing is that Flutter and me controlling Flutter, of course, is going to be able to take care of all the basic enemies right over here. I want to make the Smashers stop on the tar pits, and that is where I probably should have put a tar pit here. I'm going to lower my volume because Boom Bass is very loud in this this current version of the game. Sage is now using the correct heroes to get that activated. And I think this is honestly all we really need to do. Looks like someone activated Ned. I'm going to build a boring ramp back here because we don't currently have any spawns here, and it looks like that's going to get destroyed easily by enemies spawning. I always recommend when you're placing tire traps to just build out a little roof. This is probably too many, but as I've said in the past, I like to overtrap a little bit just for my videos for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want to fail on camera and feel like I either have to re-record or apologize, and two, I am using Flutter, a newly buffed hero, but I don't trust her yet. So we're gonna put down just a few wall darts. We're gonna play it a little safe, and if you guys are ever interested in learning how to trap more efficiently, I highly recommend just analyzing your own build. If you get to the end of the mission and you have a quick second to run a quick loop around everything you put down, you can go through and review, because you'll be able to see based on the durability of the traps which ones fired, how often they fired, and how useful to the defense they actually were. It's entirely possible that we could get to the end of this and find out that some of these never even fired once, and we can actually not place those in the future. I can afford to overtrap a little bit, and if you're on a budget, I recommend going the cheap route. So yeah, I think we're just about ready to go. I think I'm going to be hanging out in the southwest section, just dropping Plasma Pulse and killing with Flutter. Any of the smashers that sneak through will launch the Jabberwocky. All right, and the defense has begun. So since I don't really have anywhere to run, I'm just going to hold the armor baron, and I want to back up because I don't want my Flutter butterflies to actually kill the enemies that are going to be hit by my plasma pulse, and this could not be a better showcase of this weapon. I know I'm getting bullied by the Riot Huskies, but this is crazy. This is crazy. This constructor holding a Baron is just like single-handedly locking down an entire defense. And with my primary weapon of a Jabberwocky, I'm not really worried about anything too big sneaking through. I'm actually going to drop a tactical tar pit or 3 right here, drop a Plasma Pulse, back up with my Speed Baron so that my butterflies don't steal my own kills, charge up a bunch of butterflies, and go through here. So I don't have any healing, and I'll admit 100% I completely forgot to grab coconut. I completely forgot, but look at that smasher damage. That's really good. Like, for not full butterflies, that's awesome. That's amazing. The fact that you can just stand next to a 250 power level smasher and watch them die that easily, that's incredible. Let's drop the Plasma Pulse while I fail to get the coconuts that I forgot to get earlier. I made a big stink about them being so much better than Survivalist, and I straight up forgot. That is totally on me. I'm definitely going to grab some before the next wave. All right, I managed to get 2 coconuts. Let's do... Oh, man, I hit Going Constructor. No, put it away. All right, we want to drop the Plasma Pulse here right before Kine goes through and kills them all. Okay, he could not have known that I was behind him, but that is the downside. So we showed the strength of this build, and the weakness is you are activating it with Plasma Pulse. If you have one teammate who's doing too good of a job, thank you, Kine, for killing all the enemies, then you're just kind of screwed. And that's what I mean when I'm saying she's kind of like a Constructor version of Cloak Shadow. Like, Cloak Shadow, you know, melees, I could just go in and kill more enemies. But with Plasma Pulse, I have this 20+ second downtime, which is crazy. When you've only got 1 hot minute, like, that is a long time to be waiting. Now, of course, once you've got him active, look how ridiculously strong. It's such a yin and yang situation. Oh, hey, actually, is that a fun combo? Could you actually just be standing on a dino while doing big damage like that? I might have to keep that in mind, but look at that. Crazy good once it's working, if you can get it started. So I'll drop the Plasma Pulse, back off so I don't kill him early, jump up here, hold the Armor Baron so I don't take too much damage. Of course, now that I actually have coconuts, I don't need them, but I'll definitely farm up some more. That's a major blunder on my end. I literally forgot about it, but it looks like we don't even need it. I'm staying alive just fine right now, and coconuts are really, 16%. Does not look like it's really missing from the equation here. Do we have enough Flutter time to actually do damage to the Smasher? I'm seeing that we don't. Let's sprint over here. Hopefully we can catch some enemies right there, and then we'll run over to the Smasher to get some extra damage, and it looks like a teammate was hitting it. Yeah, so if you got a teammate with a Huskbuster, that is the better way to kill Smashers. I don't recommend using Flutter solely for Smashers, but she does a pretty decent job once it's charged up. I'm gonna grab some coconuts, start the next wave, and I'll check in then. All right, Trap Guide Part 2, as the Northeast is now populated with spawns. So most of the time, the enemies are just going to beeline for the objective. This is the most expensive way to do this, by the way. Okay, do not use the Jabberwocky for this. I like the Cannonade. Some people use the Deatomizer because they're rich and just want to waste it. That works, it's good, but I like the Cannonade because it's cost effective and pretty precise. Trapping on a diagonal is always a little tricky. Most of the time, like I said, they're going to be line to the defense, so they don't need much. They just need a gentle guide. And wave 2 of Ride the Lightning is very commonly going to spawn flingers, so they're probably just going to stand back here anyway. What I'm going to do here is click off to the wrong monitor. There we go. And then I'm going to place some wall darts. I just want to thin the crowd. I want to hopefully hit some flingers, hopefully target the big boys before they get too far. And then I'm just going to put, now that we can build on the ground, I'm so glad about this change. Basic guidelines, just some basic suggestions for the enemies to go through here. Wall darts hit 3 tiles and they do not pierce, so they're just good for, as you're about to see, just thinning out some of the enemies. You know, it's not ideal. It's a wide open space, but I am speccing into the build that I'm running now. We've got shotgun users, we've got 2 people running Flutter, and I want to make sure that we're all able to actually be able to get our kills in, and we're going to be able to handle everything up here. We just need to thin out the big enemies. So we're going to do a couple of tar pits, and that's pretty much all we need. In fact, I'm just going to go for gas. Really convenient, does a great job if they're stopped where they are, and that should be enough. Again, over-trapping just a little bit with a couple more wall darts. I think that's about all we need. Seeing as we have some active teammates, I'm thinking we are ready to go. I told Sage I was ready to start the mission. She told me she's about to take a nap. Okay. All right. So let's hope that Plasma Pulse does some damage. I saw some enemies falling on it, and I do not want to trigger the propanes. This is bad, by the way. Do not stand in front of propanes usually. If you are a YouTuber with a very good close combat build, and you know what you're doing, you have teammates who are willing to endure your mistakes, you're good. But in a public lobby, do not let the propanes explode. You can just stay back, let them go through the trap tunnels. That'll filter them out, and you can go from there. I am actually going to go to the opposite side because it looks like that northwest side is way more populated and more propane. So that's a problem, but we can drop the Plasma Pulse on our tar pit from earlier. Looks like it got 3 kills, maybe 4. Again, I don't want to steal my own kills, but I do want to target the Mist Monster back here. The Armor Baron is nice if I do end up taking damage. Of course, I've actually got 8 coconuts this time, but yeah, Flutter for flingers isn't exactly the best combo ever. They are ranged enemies, and running right up next to them is going to take a while. They might get an enemy thrown before you can stop them, but regardless, it is the build I'm running today. So let's back up a second. Tar pit. Yep, there's a propane. You can hit the propane, by the way. You can smack it out of the way. I had too many things in front of me, so I couldn't really do that effectively, but if you do ever need to kill a propane or get it out of the way, you can smack it. So let's go up against the mini-boss. If you are trying to kill a mini-boss, I highly recommend my mini-boss killers video. It is a really, really good, very thorough guide on how to take care of them. In this situation, we have a water, frenzied, shielded, whatever. I would recommend like a nature pot shot or a nature ground pounder, nature huskbuster. The video is extremely thorough, but you can see Flutter's actually doing like a decent job. I know I said as you can see, and then I pulled up a menu, but she was doing like a decent job. My teammates kind of took care of it when I had my menu open, but pot shot would have been a very effective way to handle that. Let me get the Armor Baron back on track here. There we go. But yeah, mini boss with an active team. It can go down if you're all using the right weapons. I saw a Huskbuster in there, and I know Sage really likes the Jabberwocky. She's a big fan of it. And my primary would have been good there, but I'm using a water Jabberwocky, so water versus water would have been suboptimal. Nature Jabberwocky would have been better there, but look at this damage. I've barely regarded it since the beginning of the mission, but like it's so strong. I'm basically just standing around killing everything that comes near me. It's so good. And that was doing well against smashers. And again, do not stand next to propanes unless you are prepared for the consequences. I am standing right next to these, watching my tar pits getting completely blown up. This is not how you're supposed to play. In an ideal, lazy, smart world, I'd be back here and then I'd be working on whatever gets through. But instead, I'm standing right next to the propanes and watching them blow up all my traps. This is not how you want to do things, but there is a bit of a natural choke point here because this slope leads away from the defense. So it looks like I was able to take advantage of that really, really well. Looks like we got max flutters. In my opinion, Flutter would be best if every Flutter kill or every set of Flutter kills activated like charge fragments or something. If every 10 Flutter kills gave you another Flutter. That way it wasn't immediately infinite, but you could at least get Flutter from Flutter. That'd be awesome. Having to get Plasma Pulse kills is really tough because you can see that scenario right there. I drop it on a Mist Monster like a dummy, and then it just doesn't give me more than, what we got, like 4 or 5 here? It's not 8. It feels like I have, you know, less of a team perk that way, and that's just not as good. That's just not as good. I guess I removed my Jabberwocky for destroying stuff, but it's fine. She's doing a great job. My teammates have a good defense over there, and it's working out. Let's do Plasma Pulse here in a slightly smarter location. It's the downtime, you know? You have not that strong of an ability with Plasma Pulse, and then you've got a 20-second cooldown in optimal scenarios. Oh, my first coconut! Woo! Yeah, so if you need the damage, by the way, I could have been eating these the entire time, but honestly, I've been in a lazy mood. You guys have been seeing the same footage as me. She is shredding everything in sight, and that includes smashers. So, wow. Dare I say it, in one update, Flutter went from a hero that exists, I guess, to something that is genuinely viable in the 160s. If you're running a typical constructor build and you just have Plasma Pulse, she might be a decent support option, or if for whatever reason you're like Kine and you want to just be an offensive commander as a constructor, she's a great pick. Honestly, that was fine. It's not my favorite gameplay loop ever, dropping a Plasma Pulse, having to get kills with it, activating propanes, running away from your own Plasma Pulse so you don't steal your own kills, is clunky. I'm not a fan of it, and if you want the playstyle of killing stuff around you, Cloak Shadow achieves that way more flexibly with a lot more damage, but regardless, I could see what Epic was going for here, and I have to say I like it. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new. Like the video if you liked it. Channel members get early access to my scheduled videos, so if you guys want to see some stuff early, you can become a channel member in the description down below. Otherwise, all my videos go out for free eventually, so it's no big deal. I'll see you guys in the next one, and have a good rest of your day.
And then